I want to know. Hello, hi, welcome back. So you didn't hear. So let me click. So the last thing you heard on the last one is today is a rosé. So you heard me go looking in between. Yeah,
You heard me go.
there we go. You heard me go looking in between the sun and the earth keeper, but you didn't hear what I found. You didn't hear. It's giving me Sagittarius already just because it's giving me science. Well, it's giving me science, but it's giving me like biological sciences. It's giving me like nutrition and health more so than just like straight up science. So maybe it's Virgo. I don't know. Hey, Holly, welcome back. Apparently, so yeah. Oh, I'm gonna finish the cup before we even get proper into the prophecy. I don't even know what all. No, yeah, because I was like, I'm gonna go looking in between the sun and the earth keeper. So nothing that I found between the sun and the earth keeper, you know about. So this part of the prophecy is going to remain hidden, and I will do my best. Well, I'm not going to do my best. I'll just continue with where you saw that I left off, and we'll see if it works back around to it. If not, then it's fine. It was for me, I guess. Um, oh, that's the world. I thought it was water. Okay, so I use the right side of the deck to get the Earth Keeper and the Sun. I'm going to use the left half of the combination to get what is between the Earth Keeper and the Sun. I don't know who my health science sign is. I don't think it comes out too often. The only reason why science is Sagittarius for me is because in a handful of the Sagittarius readings I do, they get sciency. Ooh, what is this? See, there was a third card that made this not any better. So maybe this is indicative of like, okay, we're continuing the theme from yesterday because three cards just fell out, and yesterday the good tarot was given three after three after three. And I wasn't getting threes in the last one, so that 7 to 8, that like what 7 minutes and 1 second is a precursor to the prophecy. Is it the bridge between prophecy 1 and prophecy 2? I don't know. If you're wondering why this is titled prophecy 2.2, it's because prophecy 2.0, so I guess this could have been point 1. I had some connection issues. So there was a reading I did a while ago that my day-to-day life comes into the readings. If you watch me, you know that. Sometimes they come in, sometimes it inspires it, like the C11 spiral. So one day I was doing a reading and it was about multi-input, multi-output, increasing bandwidth and stuff like that. I was talking about how I had an old Wi-Fi adapter attached to my computer, but I got new internet, like current internet speeds. So the old adapter wasn't giving me my current speed on my computer. So I got a new adapter that's been working flawlessly. Prophecy 1, like before I started Prophecy 1, I was having issues with it, like connecting and staying connected. So I have 6 USB ports. I switched it from one USB port to the other. I get on today and I was 7 minutes into my live, and then all of a sudden it starts disconnecting. So I switched it to a different USB port. I have 3 available, and it was working. On my side, after I switched it and it reconnected to the internet, like the timer resumed and it kept going. So I thought that I was still going. If Janelle wouldn't have said what she said, I would have just assumed that y'all could hear me, and Prophecy 2 would have been me doing a 3-hour reading, but you seeing the first 7 minutes before I even went looking for what's between the sun and the earth keeper. What's between the sun and the earth keeper is between the sun and the earth keeper. Witnessed by the universe. And that's where I'm going to leave this. I'm going to shuffle these back together and we're going to do it all over. Because, I guess what happens between the sun and the earth keeper stays between the sun and the earth keeper. The cards that I got to show you, all of this is from the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. I have number 64, number 31, and number 12, I think. If my eyes, because, 64, 31, and 12, and then number 28 is at the bottom of the deck. So the cards that I saw, it's the Witness in the lower world. And then the bottom of the deck is the Jaguar. The Witness in the lower world being the Jaguar. I was like, okay. The card that I did not see is number 12, the Coyote. The Witness, the lower world, and the Coyote with the bottom of the deck being the Jaguar. I don't know if the Coyote is actually a Jaguar or vice versa. But this is interesting. I mean, I guess what happens between the sun and the earth keeper is the lower world, is us doing our best in our day-to-day lives. Prophecy 2 is coming out saying that it's being witnessed. And it's more than just our high moments. It's more than just the highlights. It's more than just the good things. It's us in our totality. According to this, at least with the Jaguar and the Coyote, especially when it comes to like relationship and stuff like that. So they all go back. I'm actually going to switch the cards that came out between the other decks. So these I'm going to put over here. Those I'm going to put over here. And then we'll get a brand new prophecy. Because the rest of it got cut out. So remember how yesterday, I guess that's interesting. Remember how yesterday I was telling you about how that one time the Ivory Shield came out and how she's my card. And I kept reading like the audio cut out. Well, there's 13 minutes of that video that you don't get to see or hear or be a part of. Pause it, meditate on it, take a screenshot. What comes out between the sun and the earth keeper for you? The thing that I have to share is that whatever's going on in the lower world is being witnessed by the Coyote. And maybe the Coyote is sent by the Jaguar. I don't know. So with that one, I started with the right. This one, I'll start with the left. Prophecy 2, the part that I can share, apparently. 7 of Air is at the cut with the Jaguar now. So we're going from the water, from the earth primarily of yesterday, it seems, to air today. I know that the conjunctions between Jupiter and Vision Quest in the Jaguar, between Jupiter and Saturn, moved from earth to air. Pluto has entered Aquarius. So from earth to air, it's retrograde in Capricorn right now, but when it's direct, it holds the space of Aquarius. Oh gosh, can I not shuffle these? Thank you. The card backs of these of the good tarot almost make me think. They remind me of the tarot of magical correspondences or mystical correspondences. Excuse me. Okay. I'm actually drinking the rosé. So we'll see if I drink the Pinot Grigio tomorrow. The bottom of the deck is the King of Air. So maybe air is the theme today. Kings are sages. So the sage of air on the bottle, the energies behind prophecy 2 were the world card and the wheel of fortune. It was the world because of how it looked. It was the wheel of fortune because of what looked like spokes. Also very reminiscent of the demiurge 4 of wands yesterday. I'll pull up the picture again so I can show you. I would bring the bottle, but these videos aren't sponsored, and I feel like that'd be a bit much. So this is today. The King of Air is here. I can't remember if I saw him yesterday. Behind a card, behind a card, behind a card at the bottom of the deck. Hey, look, we got 3 cards again. These prophecies are coming in 3s, apparently. Number 30, 60, and 16. Maybe y'all didn't hear the last one because it was too easy. It was too easy. It was too straightforward. I didn't struggle hard enough to get where I was being led. Again, it's a lot better, but still, I'm not a huge fan of wine. Why did you get them? Because they said prophecy. Obviously, duh. Lightning, the Vision Quest, and the Tower. Now, the Vision Quest just came out with the Jaguar, and I was like, am I going to show the cards at the cut every single time? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. But it came out. So this time I actually showed you the card instead of not noting the apparent significance of it. And then later being like, oh, this card was at the cut that one time when I was shuffling. This time I actually showed you. What's interesting is in a lot of depictions of the tower, lightning has already struck. But in this tower, in the Good Tarot, the skies honestly look kind of clear. And then we have Vision Quest and lightning. So it's like the lightning is on a vision quest to seek the tower, or we are on a vision quest to attract the lightning. Or because often the tower or the lightning strikes towards the top of the tower. The top of the tower is given crown energy. Vision Quest is also crown energy. Oh, it's kind of third eye. It's like third eye crown mix. Lightning is also a crown energy. Can be. So it's almost like it's a tower rather than a physical tower. But air in the way that I read disology, air is basically spiritual. Earth is the manifestation of everything. Air is the understanding behind the manifestation. So whenever I think about it, it's like Earth is like the blueprints and the construction and the building, the tower. Air is like the permits and like early markup, early prototypes. It's the brainstorming, it's the gathering of conceptual ideas. it's the conceptualization of some of those ideas, but it's not like the final blueprint, the one that's actually going to be built. It's everything that goes into building. So again, it's like it's the permits and it's all of the construction-y things that I don't know about. And it's the sage of air. We had the sage of earth yesterday. It almost feels like because of this prophecy two is a lot more, it's a lot less guaranteed. It's a lot more subtle than prophecy one. I mean, I guess we go from earth to air, so that's not completely unexpected. But it's like this lightning is a spiritual lightning, or it's an energetic lightning, it's an etheric lightning. It's not necessarily physical. So this isn't a tower that necessarily just comes in and happens. It is almost one that has to be called for. Again, it's making me think of the energy circulating the collective subconscious that aren't necessarily finding vessels or that haven't necessarily been finding homes. It's making me think of the superflume and that superfluid energy. Because it's through the vision quest, it's through the expansion of the crown that we see. It's like the storm is already happening, but it's happening in a different dimension, in a parallel, whatever, in a pocket universe. Ah, that's fun. I saw that. I watched that on Netflix last night. Also, so yesterday I watched One Piece Red. So spoilers if you watch One Piece and you haven't watched One Piece Red yet. It's on Crunchyroll now if you have Crunchyroll. It's probably also, I know they said it's on Vudu if you run it, pay for it. So in One Piece Red, spoiler alert, there's a person that has the ability to basically take people's souls into a world of their creation. And so she reaches out, or she lives in isolation for quite a while, for like 10 years, for a decade, talking about sages being locked in their towers. And then when she reconnects with the world, she finds an audience. She's a singer. She finds an audience, but also she learns that the world has fallen into an almost like chaos, essentially. She learns the state of the world and that it's not great. So she resolves herself to use her power to trap people in a dream world that they'll love and to make everyone happy. And there are the people who would love to escape from their reality and they love being in the dream world. And then there are the people who are like, as much fun as I'm having, like I have a real life to get back to, you know, like I didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for this. And then there are the people who want to be trapped in the dream world and they're like, she's doing this for us because she cares about us. Why are you being whatever? And it's like, because I don't want to be stuck in a dream. I want to go back to reality, you know? And so, but at the end of it, there's this way, there's this being, this dark entity. I mean, in the dream, it's like the Demon King, and it's related to music because she's a singer. But it bridges the world created from her ability to like trap people's souls in it with reality. And they're like, it's like when that thing is summoned, it exists in both, and it becomes the anchor between the soul / dream world and reality. And if you defeat it, then it should like help everybody transition back into reality, because the girl was not long for the earth, and she was like, when I go, they'll be trapped there forever, but I'm gonna make it like amazing. So, you know, and they don't have to know it's a dream. Why am I bringing that up? because it's, I don't know, it's making me think of like the things that are already happening. Like this lightning storm is already happening, but it's happening in a space that is not connected to the space where this tower exists. And it's through the vision quest that we can tap into that. $30, $60, and $16. So there's a lot of like, and I think this like it for me, the 10th place is spirit, the ones place is physical, the 10th place is unseen, subtle, energetic, the ones place is physical, tangible, material. So there's all of this stuff happening in the spiritual between lightning and the vision quest, with the 0 in the 10th place. So it's like almost as if it's the physical material is completely unaffected. But then in this tower, you have ones and tens. So it's something that's being led by the spirit, with the one being in the tens place. And it's something that harmonizes in the physical, with the 6 being there. And I talked about the 6 yesterday. It's particularly like the 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 10, and then the 3 at the end. So 1, 2, and 4 were the only numbers that I didn't mention at all. So it's almost like, because again, the 3 is something generative. The 3 is something that results because of its predecessors. There's something in the subtle that's happening as a result of the subtle. It's almost like a lot of like answered prayers, but they're being answered in the spirit. And usually when a prayer is answered, it comes through, it trickles down into the material, and that's how we know that they've been answered, or that's how we see solution when it comes in the physical. And it feels like with the 6 and 60, it's harmonizing, or it's trying to harmonize with the material. Like it's trying to come about. Those solutions are trying to come in, but with these zeros, it's like there's nothing on the physical side for those solutions, for those answers to attach to. There's no vessel for them to fill or be born into in order for us to physically see, witness, and experience them. But again, with the vision quest and the lightning, if we can tap into it, then that spiritual, energetic, subtle lightning can strike our physical tower and change things. Now, also, it's like, sometimes we can be so resistant to change and so avoidant of change, but also desire it at the same time very greatly. You know what I mean? Like we want our lives to change for the better, but at the same time, we're resistant to change. And it's like, well, one can't necessarily happen without the other. I'm almost curious to see what the next one is going to be. And again, air predates earth. Air is like the permit that is required to build on the land. Or air is the contract to start building. And it's the assembly of all of the resources that it's going to take before ground is broken and construction actually happens. And so the sage of air is here with an adept understanding of those subtle forces. So it would be the sage of air that is with relative ease able to connect to everything that's happening in the subtle, energetic, and spiritual. That is his specialty. As it is the sage of earth's specialty to translate that into physical things. Right. Let me see. Give me one moment. I want to make sure this isn't. I mean, at the same time, I guess whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. And I can't. I mean, if this one doesn't work, the third one won't. So I just got to hope it's not. Look, let's see her at the bottom of the deck. I'm already less than half a cup. Ugh, I still don't like wine. I still don't like it. It's so much better, but I still don't like it. The seer at the bottom of the deck would be able to. The seer would be able to see. I feel like also there's almost a part where it's like seeing it isn't necessarily the issue. It's almost like the quest part of the vision quest is where it's like getting the vision is easy, than the quest to get that lightning to connect with the spire on top of the tower. So it's like a whole bunch of energetic knowing and spiritual information, but like grounding it and manifesting it into the physical is where the challenge is coming through. Now that's not 3 cards, but it flipped over, so I'll take it. The Emperor. Of course it's the Emperor. And that was, well, I mean, it was the Empress. It's my lion! No! The Emperor is a lion in this deck. Interesting. Lionsgate energy is still floating around. Bottom of the deck is the Hierophant. This is a very airy Hierophant card. Is the good tarot Hierophant still Taurus? Since Taurus is an earth sign and that's so airy. Okay. So the Emperor is here, meaning that there are things that we put into play. So it's feeling like whatever the lightning with the vision quest is, like that's why it's not just happening. That's the reason why the lightning doesn't find this tower in the physical. It's the reason why there are zeros in the ones place, zeros on the side of physical, and 0 is like open to anything and everything that comes in. Additionally, 0 will give whatever you put into it. But when it comes to multiplying, 0 will consume anything that you put into it. And when it comes to division, anything like you can divide 0 by anything and get 0, but if you try to divide anything by 0, it breaks the laws of reality and physics and math, arithmetic. Division by 0 cannot happen. Now, what you can do is you can divide by like 0.1 and 0.01 and 0.0001 and 0.00001, and you can see what that approaches. But to divide by, like, you can get an approximation and you can make observations about what's happening, but you can't divide by 0 according to arithmetic. And if you subtract 0 from anything, just like addition, it's going to give you the same thing. Now, the 0 is also interesting because of the void that came out towards the end of Prophecy 1, or like halfway through Prophecy 1. But the feeling of that void, the life in the void, was more so on the side of Prophecy 2, which is what we're doing today. And at the end of Prophecy 1, it was a question of like, do we put Malkut into the void? Or do we like put ourselves into the void and we turn on our light or whatever, and then things sort of radiate and build that way? Or is it a combination of the two? My brain interprets things I read in metaphor, so apply them as they resonate for you. Okay. But the emperor is here, meaning that it's something that we do. It's not something that just happens. The empress came out yesterday, meaning that like we need to be receptive to it. It's like we have to be capable of receiving the inspiration or capable of receiving the idea, but the actual creation, the actual birth, the actual implementation is to be done by our hand. And that puts a lot more context into the part that you didn't see. Does it necessarily quite work itself in for me to talk about it? I'd have to go further and explore. Not so much yet. The magic in the page of air. But yeah, that's why this tower isn't just happening like many of them do. It's because the emperor is here. It's something we gotta do. So this isn't necessarily one of those passive prophecies, number 2. I know, I'm like so distracted. I don't even see the. Oh, there we go. '27, 1942. 1927, 1942. Okay. Oh wait, I'm still using the left deck. No, yeah, because I just picked it up. Duh. So let's get a little bit more clarification. Emperor, Empress, Sovereign Energy also made an appearance towards the end of the reading yesterday. In a way. Okay. I feel like I should get at least 2 more to keep up with the theme of 3s, but wait, I picked up the deck in reverse. So here's our 4th air, the peacocks. I'm wearing my peacock earrings today. With her peacock feathers on her crown. I mentioned that in Prophecy 2. The circle came out in reverse, but the circle is in reverse because the whole deck was in reverse. Because the circle is the circle, it doesn't matter if it's upright or in reverse, it's still the circle. And because the circle is the number 8, it doesn't matter if it's upright or in reverse, it's still the number 8. I think circles can speak of the cyclical nature of things, but in this particular case and in this particular instance, the circle is reading more like the interconnectedness of things. So it's how one thing leads to another, sort of naturally, smoothly, and almost effortlessly, rather than the theme of like things coming full circle, or rather than like the spiral. It's like the points in between the points. Again, going back to that, like you can't divide by 0, but you can divide by 0.1 and 0.01 and 0.001 and 0.0001 and an infinite number of zeros. As long as the last number isn't also a 0, you can divide by it. And there's something about, so in math, we switch from science to math. So there is still a little, I don't know if it's Sagittarius or something else, but it's here. It's giving me like integral energy. And an integral is an algebraic operation that allows us to approximate, like, because there are an infinite number of numbers in between discrete numbers. There's 1 and 1.01, 1.001, 1.0001, 1.2, 1.012, 1.0012. There's an infinite, like we can infinitely break down the distance in between two discrete variables or two discrete numbers, two integers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Integers themselves go on to infinity. But the integral, it allows us to almost like between this point and this point account for the infinite number of in between. So if you integrate a function from 1 to 2, you're accounting for 1, 1.01, 1.001, 1.0001, 1.0001, 1.0001, 1.2, 1.02, 1.002, 1.000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, the integral accounts for everything between those two discrete integers from wherever you're integrating it on that function. And it feels like that's what the circle in reverse, especially maybe, is coming out as. Because maybe the circle upright would be like a full circle, but it's not about the full circle. It's like it's about between this point and that point and being able to smoothly account for everything. Somehow, algebraically and mathematically, although we can't divide by 0, we can account for the infinite number of divisions and subsections between one discrete integer and the next. And so maybe with the 4 of air, it somehow in some way puts our minds at ease to be able to do that. So that's the second card. Maybe with this Emperor too, I don't know if it's like, is that the Time Master? No, it's Taming the Wind. The 4 of air with Taming the Wind at the cut. Taming the Wind is a card that's been coming out. The Wind and Taming the Wind. Now, at the beginning of part 1 of this, or part 0 of this, I almost want to do like a Prophecy 2.1 to bridge the original version and this one. But then there'd be like a whole bunch of it. I mean, it is like, it's this energy that I guess I was literally just talking about. The parts in between the parts. Between 1 and 2, there's 1.5. There's 1 1/3. There's 1 1/4. There's 1 1/5. There's 1 1/6. There's 1 1/7. 1 1/8. 1 1/9. 1 1/10. 1 1/11. 1 1/12. 1 1/13. 1 1/14. 1 1/15. When am I going to stop? 1 1/16. 1 1/17. 1 1/18. 1 1/18,894,725. You know? There are an infinite number in between, so if I start, I'll never stop. This isn't the song that doesn't end. It will not go on and on, my friends. Some people started singing and not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because, unless they decide to stop, because they can do that. They have free will. Just because it's the song that doesn't end doesn't mean that you have to keep singing it or playing it on the drum. Here's the drum. And the drum is number 15. Here's the 3 of water again that came out yesterday. And Pachamama. Did Pachamama come out yesterday? I saw her yesterday. I don't know if she came out though. She's number 40. It's interesting that because the devil came out, or temptation. Temptation came out in the Good Tarot, and the drum is here. They're both number 15, and I need to use the restroom. But after I break the seal, I'll do my best to hold it. It was just 40-20. Yeah, I'm going to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. Hopefully there won't be multiple interruptions. Oh, we got our 3 card. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, too much ooh. Too much ooh. I didn't even realize that was the bottom of the deck. The drum was the bottom of the deck, and I put it down on the table. The drum is 15, so it's 16 and then 15. And then the ace of water, the difference between 15 and 16 is 1. Oh, gosh. I tried it. There's just like, wine is okay, but there's this, it's not an aftertaste because it immediately comes in after the front of it that I just don't like. Anyway. Now, rice wine, sake, love it. Something about grapes, something about fermented grapes that I just can't get down with. Okay, so this is interesting. It was her that I saw yesterday. It was the Queen of Air. I can't remember if I had seen the King of Water or the Queen of Air. So I got my 3 cards. I ended up putting the drum. I ended up completing that set of 3 with the drum that was at the bottom. Now the current reigning bottom is the 3 of water, which again came out yesterday, which was us pulling wisdom from 3 different sources: the root, the heart, and the crown. And using it in whatever way we need to. Also, the difference between 1 and 5 is 4. Because I'm looking at the 15 upright and the 4 upright and the emperor and the drum. The 3 cards came out. It's the Queen of Earth, the Queen of Air, and the Ace of Cups. This is perfect for this energy, especially bridging from yesterday to today. Queens are teachers. And unlike sages, welcome back. Unlike the sages, the teachers aren't as detached from reality. In fact, the teachers are kind of sort of immersed in it. Because it's one of those things, there is the saying that like those who can't do teach or whatever. But there's also that line of thinking or that line of belief that like if you really know something, then you'll be able to teach it. Or like when you teach something, you learn it twice. Like when you can explain it to somebody else on an elementary level, or when you can meet someone where they are with your level of knowing and communicate it to them to get them to rise closer to your level of knowing, that's a mastery in and of itself. And it's something that many a sage can't do. Okay, it doesn't matter how much. It's something that's not attributed to the sage. And it feels like it's the openness, it's the attachment, it's the boots on the groundness, it's the immersion of the teacher. And the communication and the openness between them that will help, that more like prophecy II will help us to actually anchor in and to experience some of the things that we're wishing for, manifesting, and desiring. Because again, in lightning, and with lightning being that 3, it feels like there are a lot of like prayers that are answered. And there's a lot of solution that exists in the energetic cloud, but they're not necessarily accessible. Because the emperor came out, it's like it's not necessarily acceptable because of things that we're not doing. Sometimes, it requires us to do something and it doesn't just happen. Prophecy II is by nature or by virtue of the cards that I'm reading, almost like not just happening energy. Exposure might just happen. The opportunity might just happen, but we have to take it on and we have to do something with it because the emperor is here. Now, with the drum, Um, One second. I can look at that later because that's for me. That's personal. With the drum. Oh wait, let me just check it. Because if it's something for me to read, I can read it later. But if it's something for me to like respond to, then I can respond now. Oh, don't make me cry. Is it? Okay, that's for me. So I can look at that later. The Queen of Earth and the Queen of Air, the teachers of Earth and Air, are here. The teacher of Earth, it's almost like there's the physical understanding, and then there is the I'm like, do I have to get into it? So again, air for me is like permits and contracts and the things that need to happen before construction can actually begin, before materialization of the thing proceeds. It's like everything that leads up to the insemination of the egg and the like. So there is like that border that they share. There's a fine line between them. At the extremes, it's very extreme, but there is some bordering of the overlap between them. Um, because then it's like everything leading up to the insemination is air, almost like including the moment of insemination, that exact instance. And everything after that exact instance is the fertilizing of the egg, the development of the blastocyst or whatever. There's all of that replication that becomes the fetus, that becomes the baby, that becomes the child, that becomes the teenager, the adolescent, that becomes the adult, that becomes the one that gives birth if they so choose and decide themselves. Everything after that moment, like including the moment itself, is earth. Everything before that moment, including the moment itself, is air. And this is, again, it's all about us more so than just receiving the guidance through our intuition and discernment. It's us taking the actions that we need to take with this emperor. Because the Queen of Earth and because the Queen of Air are communicating, there's this pearl that happens. And it's just like it makes it easier for us to actually experience it in real life or to bring it into our reality, for it to manifest, for us to do the things that we need to do in order for that to happen. Now, what's interesting is that yesterday the messenger of water came out, and then she came out again, and she was talking to a seahorse. Well, here's the seahorse and the ace of water here. And then we have these three pearls already with this three of water. And I was seeing at the beginning yesterday, the first thing that came out the cut of the good tarot was, no, I think it was the left half of the good tarot. It was the Four of Earth and Justice. And at the end of yesterday, the Four of Earth and Justice were feeling like the same person. And these four pearls is giving me that Four of Earth energy between the Three of Water and this Ace of Water. Cool. The drum is low key giving me Joaquinion, I think. I think it's like, I forget. It's David, maybe like David. I forget his name. I found him on YouTube, and he was talking about Lakota, I think, teachings. And it was Joaquin and the Heyoka. That's one of the ones that I watched. And I guess the other one that I think that was the backstory of the Heyoka, because the Heyoka is like he talked about who Joaquin is. Oh, that's also interesting. Because of the witness in the lower world being this took a turn. This took a twist because of the drum and because of what I have secondhand knowledge of. Um, Not that I don't believe the source. So Joaquin is coming out with the drum. There's Tatanka and then the bear. There was the Wankantanka or the Wakantanka, whatever. I'm probably gonna mispronounce things, but try to follow me if you want, if it resonates. If it don't, then tune it out. Because with the circle being here in reverse, it's like now it's coming out with like room being made in the circle to welcome someone new. To either welcome someone new or for someone to depart from the circle. So there is the Wankantanka, and then there's the bear that wants to be in the Wankantanka, and then there are humans who are at this time living under the earth. The bear is in observation of the meetings of the Wankantanka. The bear goes to the leader of the people, Tatanka. Before Tatanka meant buffalo, and the buffalo came out yesterday. It was the buffalo and the lion. So maybe tomorrow will be lion. No, the lion is here in the emperor. The buffalo is here through virtue of Tatanka being the leader of the humans and Tatanka becoming, at some point, the name for buffalo. So it was before Tatanka meant buffalo. So the bear, I don't remember the bear's name, but the bear goes to Tatanka, the leader of the humans, and he's like, I can teach you a song that will get you the attention of the Wankantanka. When they extend you an invitation to join their ranks, to become a member of the circle, I want you to make it a condition of your acceptance that I also be invited, because I want to be in the Wankantanka. And this is how I have schemed up a way to get what I want. Almost. Not that it's scheming, but the beauty way is behind the King of Swords. So it ended up working out beautifully and marvelously. And then behind the beauty way is the Ancient Ones, which fits, and the rattle, which also fits. And then there's the sun again. Do 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 do. And then there's temptation behind that. No, that's transformation. Sorry. So anyway, the bear goes to Tatanka, teaches humans the song. The humans play the song, and they get the attention of Kenyon, which is the Thunderbird. And here's lightning right here. And then here's this bird. Here's this feathered lady in the Vision Quest. Anyway, and Vision Quest in and of itself. Okay, whatever. And the Sweat Lodge came out recently. Anyway. This is a paraphrasing. So the humans play the song well. The bear is making sure they can do it right. They do their training one day when the Wankantanka are going to assemble. Kenyon is flying overhead above the earth, and she hears it. So she makes her way below the surface, scares the bejeebus out of like everybody. And they're like, whoa. But Keon's like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, I love your music. Tatanka got his invitation to join the Wankantanka. Tatanka honored the bear's request, and the bear also joins the Wankantanka. But before Kenyon leaves, she is in such appreciation or awe that she blesses their drums, so that whenever they find themselves in a space of need, like if they are, I don't want to say like anxiety ridden, or like whenever they need to like shake out a lot of stuff and like ground or center or tap back into the whatever, all they have to do is play their drums in a steady fashion. And it ain't necessarily nothing fancy. And then Kenyon is like, if you don't got drums, you can clap your hands, you can stomp your feet, you can do whatever. As long as it's in that steady beat, in that steady rhythm, and it will alleviate whatever it is that you're going through. That's what the drum is giving me here. Or it's making me think of here. And then there's the circle that is giving me the Wankantanka. And then I guess the emperor could be the leader could be Tatanka, the leader of the people. And lightning is here. The lightning card in the mystical shaman actually has a buffalo on it. Where am I going with this? I don't remember. Something about Wakinyan, and then the Heyoka Wakinyan created was responsible for the first Heyoka. So, anyway. Maybe it was the Queen of Air, or maybe it's this air energy with Wakinyan being the Thunderbird. I don't remember. There was somewhere I was going with that. I think it was just like it was the power of the drum to ground and transmute. Oh, music. Yeah, because I was talking about One Piece Red and it's the kingdom of music. Um, the singer that had the ability through her voice and with her song, she could put people in that world where or put their souls in that world. Um, and then she was like isn't a person more than just their body anyway? Like isn't the soul the important part? The soul is actually now that I think about it, the soul is something it's prevalent, relevant in whatever way right now. um but yeah, between the Queen of Earth and the Queen of Air, there's this Ace of Water that brings in this new pearl. It's the Ace of Water that receives the pearl from the Messenger of Water yesterday. And yesterday, with the Messenger of Water and the Six of Air, with the ship on open sea, it was that, like, I hope you don't have to learn the hard way. So, with the seahorse carrying the pearl, it's almost like we can accept the pearl from the Messenger of Water without going through that moment, without going through a tower in the more conventional sense and learning that way. But also, that was an energy that was sort of nearby yesterday. Potentially not having to go through a difficult experience because of the things that we've already learned. Yesterday was like we already know it, we already like learned it. We don't need to go through it in a different way. We don't need to repeat it in that way. And again, the circle is in reverse. It's not about repeats today. But the Messenger of Water, it feels like it also has the potential to bring us learning from experiences that we haven't yet necessarily had. And maybe that's the three nature of it. It's like if you already know this and you already know that, if you combine elements and aspects, you can see how if this is true and that is true, then it also follows that this is true. This truth that is built upon the fundamental understanding of these two truths. So you don't have to personally experience whatever to know that this is true because you've already completed the prerequisites. And again, it's our ability to be in touch and tune, tap in, and listen. Which the cards is coming out. It's like the teacher, it's also important for the teacher to learn or to be taught. I don't know if sages can necessarily be taught, but they can still learn, of course, because they dedicate their life to learning. But I don't think they're necessarily open in the same ways that a teacher is. The sage is the one that might have a little bit more of an ego of like, I've dedicated years to my life studying this, and you, an amateur, a nobody, are going to tell me how this works? I don't think so. But that amateur, that nobody is the one that lives in reality. The one that's like, actually, outside of your tower, this is how things operate. A wise sage would listen, but not all sages are wise, and not all teachers are uh, in a space of being taught. But it is very like, I learn just as much from my students as they do from me type of energy with these three. My bottle is not yet empty. I'm actually going to grab the La Fruma, and I meant to do that before I sat down because I was watching this back to make sure that everything was decent. I watched a bit of the beginning, and then I went closer to where current is, which was like maybe 10 minutes ago now. And I mentioned health and not knowing like health, not necessarily completely feeling Sagittarius. Now there's like math. I don't know if math is also Sagittarius with integrals. So there's a quasi Sagittarian energy. Is it a Fiacus girl? I don't know. Could be. If it is, am I going to dig any deeper into it? No. Take it as it resonates. But I think it was Cunning. It was Cunning version 1, draft 1 of the rooms. It's now the health room. So I'm going to pull before and after the health room. So give me one moment to locate that deck. I know exactly where it is. I just need to grab it. Woo! I know exactly where you are, LaFrona. Don't go hiding from it now. Here you are. And Prophecy 2 will be complete. And then I'll do Prophecy 3 tomorrow. And I don't know if I'll wait until my next day off to do the Pick a Prophecy. Because, I don't know, something about drinking 3 shots before I go to work doesn't necessarily feel congruent to, you know what I mean? I guess I could do it after work, like a before bed, whatever. I am going to give it a few shuffles. The cup is not yet empty. I've been doing a good job of making it through this cup. I think maybe I slowed down a little bit. And again, I did take a sip before I started today, just to see if it would be better than yesterday. And then I forgot. So. All right. We'll give it 1, 2, 3. 59.45. Bottom of the deck is Gutton 57. Gutton was at the top of the deck. It was the final card. The last time I used this deck, I actually thought about Anwilla earlier. It resurfaced in my mind how in the Good Tarot, I'm pretty sure there was a card, and the keystone of the arch in the card made me think of Anwilla. And it was when our willpower sees us through certain challenges to get us to the other side, to get us to whatever understanding, to get us to whatever position. But our resistance can also like lock us in where we are, to the point where even if there is something that comes in to help guide us and move us forward, we can say no, because we have free will. We have the ability to say no. I'm going to be stuck. Not stuck, not stagnant. I'm going to stay where I am rather than moving in any other direction. Not forward, not backward, doesn't matter. I'm going to stay where I am rather than move. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Janelle. It's been a hard journey. I'm loving it. The 2 cards that came out are Nuwa and Yarna. Yarna New. And it's a new way of connecting. It's a new way of entwining. And it's making me think of like yarn of twine rather than rope. Like it's a lot thinner. It isn't necessarily as thick. It doesn't feel more fragile, but it is thinner. And it's also like things don't necessarily have to mean what they used to. But maybe that's a result of whatever this gutting is that happened. So I'm going to look before and after health, because that energy came out last time. Health in particular. But oh, look, there's Anwilla with the title card, with one of the title cards. Cool. And then the void is on the other side. So Anwilla is between the title card, one of the title cards, and the Ganungagat void. I think that came to my mind too earlier, or maybe it was yesterday. It was how around the inventor, it was the Heraith, and I don't remember the card that was on the other side. But it was like it was that calling towards something and knowing that it wasn't anything experienced in the past. And because there was a knowing that it wasn't anything experienced in the past, it gave the inventor an increased determination. The innocent, that's what it was. It was the here I am, the innocent. It's like, it's because I know it's nothing I've ever done and nothing I've ever experienced. It has to be out there somewhere. And so I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep experiencing. I'm going to keep up. I'm going to keep doing the new until I find the thing. Because I think sometimes we do this thing where we try to force something from the past to fit whatever it is that we are getting, receiving, being intuitively led or guided to, or because of something that resonates for us. We try to go back and force something to fit now or moving forward. Sometimes it is the case, sometimes it isn't. But again, like with us as humans, what do we have but our own experiences, knowledge, and wisdom? Our intuition. And that's the thing that leads us to places and helps us get an idea, an inclination of the places that we've never been and the things that we don't even know. The things that we don't even know that we don't know, honestly. So health, that's Flissa, which is not health. I feel like this rosé is hitting me a little bit more than the Sauvignon Blanc did yesterday. But I also might be tired, so that could be why. Ooh, Snakeness and Offerligur right, one right after the other. And then after Offerligur is Ool. Here's Health. Wacken, Originate, and Was. WhatsApp. That's before and after new. And then La Fruma is after Was. So we have Ool before and La Fruma after. I almost want to shuffle these again. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to pull anything else, but wanted to shuffle them, so I did. All right. It's interesting that I pulled the La Fruma because of the fairies that came out, because of the fairy that came out in the mythical creature oracle cards. Wacken, Awaken, and Originate. Was, Sap, and Impassioned. Wacken is number 69. Health is 61. Was is number 40, I think. Let me find the number. 46. Card 46 came out. I should just use the book. The book would be quicker. Because I saw card 46 in the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards. The book isn't in here. The book ain't in the box. The book is too big. And I think I saw it in this left side. I mean, I've only seen a handful of cards. And it's not on the table. And it's not on the table. It's thunder, not lightning. Thunder carries the buffalo. Lightning is out here. Thunder and lightning is often exciting. Sure, why not? There's card number 61. 61 over here is water, where we had health, and then the ace of water is there. I'm pretty sure I saw 46. And I'm almost certain it came out over here. So then it would be. Actually, it's not. I thought, wrong. Unless it was at the bottom of the deck. Or unless 46 is the Earth Keeper. And I'm pretty sure it was on the right side of the card. $45 is the Seer. $46 is the Serpent. That you can't see because it's blurry. 46 is the Serpent. I did not see 46 here today. And I feel like maybe it's because I mentioned that the circle isn't the spiral. I thought of the Serpent, but the Serpent came to my mind earlier today. Am I going to focus this? Sure. Now you're seeing like I'm seeing. Kidding. No, yesterday I didn't even make it this far before the video just focused itself. But today I got to go all the way into the menu and do it. So it's fine. I don't mind. It's easy. Wacken is Wake and Originate, and then Was is Sap and Impassioned. So it's like we awaken to this new suite, maybe, of things that impassion us, and then we originate something in return. We create something that doesn't necessarily exist, or we create pathways and opportunities because of the things that we are passionate about. And that takes me back to John Green and how the patent for something was expiring. And he made a video and it ended up putting pressure on the company so that they did actually, or at least they said, so that they made it possible for there to be like generic versions of the medicine so that more people could afford treatment in countries around the world. And how Hank was then like, this is never going to happen ever again. It was this one-time thing, but we came together. You came together because of this thing that you were been overly passionate about for the past year. Now, I didn't watch it. I don't know. I don't know if he knew that in a year the patent would be expiring and that was the reason why. So that in preparation for that time, for that moment, he could act. Or if he was living his life, going about his day to day, and one day it came into his awareness, and there was something about it that called him to it. He got super passionate about it, did all of this research, and then it just so happened that the patent was expiring. And because he's invested at this point, he finds out. And rather than accepting the fact that, I saw the title of the video. I didn't watch it itself. So it could have been under the assumption that, this is what's going to happen. And there's this problem that's going to continue to be a much bigger problem than it has to be. This is what that company is going to do. And then the company was like, I don't know what your sources said or what your research led you to believe, but we never said that we would do this thing that companies always do. And in fact, well, I think first it was just like at that. And then it came out that they had made a decision to like allow generics or whatever. And so did they renew their patent in some way? Of course they did. But they also provided the opportunity for access. So it's something working out in a way that it doesn't usually, or it didn't usually. But because of the pressure applied by one impassioned person, it originated, it created, it awakened a brand new pathway. That brand new pathway or that like the process working out in a way that it doesn't before, it's making me think, or it's calling to my mind this Yarna and this new one. Because of the thing that he was impassioned about, it led to the creation of something new. You know? Did he know that it would be received in the way that it was received, or that it would result in what it resulted in? Maybe not. Probably not, actually. But it did, and it was different, and it was new, and that's the thing. Now, Hank was like, "Oh, this will never happen again," and Patrick is like, "Why not? If it happened once, it can happen again." Because you best believe it. That was a reel that I saw on Instagram. It could have been a TikTok, I don't know, but I saw it on Instagram, so it was a reel rather than a TikTok or rather than a YouTube short because of where I saw it. But there was this woman that was like, if they'll shenan once, you best believe they'll shenan again. If it happened once, it can happen again. Why not? And when that came through in a reading, it's like that's the difference between an empowered collective and a disempowered collective. The disempowered collective would be one that's like, this is how things typically work. This is the narrative. This is what's going to happen. The empowered collective is the one that makes things change, makes things happen. Like, not this time. No, I don't think so. Something is going to change. Something is going to go down differently. And we're going to use our individual power collectively to make it so, rather than losing heart, losing hope, or accepting the fact that that's the way that things always are. Absolutely not. There are a lot of things that maybe didn't matter for a long time, but that's not necessarily the case now. And this is interesting because, again, there's been that energy of things floating the collective human subconscious or unconscious, of the things, of solutions ready to manifest, but of they're not being an open vessel for it. They're not being a person that believes, or they're not being a person who will put in the action that it needs. Again, going back to the Empress from yesterday and that random Facebook video that I saw last night or this morning. I don't know, because my sleep schedule is all over the place. If you plant the seed within the receptive feminine vessel, it will multiply and it will birth it into reality for you. It's this impassioned energy that perfects or creates a vessel that is capable of receiving whatever is floating in this vision quest lightning space, and will create that tower moment to get things to change down here. And again, it is kind of sort of a little bit of that allow the world to be rewritten type of energy. Things don't have to go the way that they always went, because the world is not what it was. We had a questionable, or not questionable, we had a arguable amount of time where everything stopped, and where we got to really take a look at reality in the world outside of being so consumed by a day-to-day 9-to-5 work and this and that, where we had to, some of us, be in our homes with the people that are in our homes, where we had to face certain aspects of reality, and where for the first time on a more global, or on a larger scale, we got to ask questions and we got to make demands. And before things continued to the way that they always were, it's almost like we got to be able to make demands if we so chose to. And it's a lot more difficult when everything is like running an operation. More often than not, if there's a significant amount of construction or reconstruction, a thing is shut down. Access is limited. And then when it opens back up, it incorporates the new. So, '96 as a caregiver. Somebody's got to give care to the folks who need it. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've never been so excited to reach the bottom of a drink. Because like I'm done. I'm done with this. But I didn't want to close it while I still had drink in the cup. So that's this message. That's prophecy too. And again, it's interesting that prophecy 2.0 started with that whenever like prophecy, one prophecy in and of itself is already difficult enough to interpret and then to accurately cast. But when you have a prophecy attached to another prophecy, then it compounds, it doubles on that. Prophecy too, again, it's because the emperor is here. It's like it's both being in a space to receive on the feminine side of things, because feminine is receptive, and being in a position to act and enact on the masculine side. So there's a feminine masculine balance within the self, within an individual, or within a collective, within a community. But yeah, so I'm gonna get final cards now. I'm gonna start with the Lafruma since I pulled the Lafruma. And then I'm gonna separate these back out. And turn this back up right. I probably actually could have mixed the Lafruma with this because I think they're all the same size, but I didn't. So tomorrow is a Pinot Grigio. Tomorrow is the Star. Today was the Wheel of Fortune and the World. And I guess the World does have a certain energy of completion for the individual. And so maybe that's why it is a little bit like the Wheel of Fortune would be a little bit more self motivated or self generated. Us using our power to put things into motion, us taking advantage of utilizing in ways that benefit not only us, but the greater collective or a community, and bringing about things or making certain things so. Because we can do that. But as long as we feel hopeless or powerless, or as long as we put certain external factors in more of a position of influence and impact than ourselves, then of course we'll think it's hopeless. And of course we'll be led to or we'll create certain solutions that have relative / minimal / diminished benefit. Rasa and Swelgeness. Ooh, alchemize the past. Alchemize the past. It's right there. This is my lunar eclipse rune. Helve is my solar eclipse rune. And I think we're going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. The past nodes were Taurus Scorpio. Now that's probably in like October, so it's a few months from now. A month and a half from now, maybe. With the way time is flying, we're already in the 8th month of 2023 already. Wait. Alchemize and explore the past. As long as, like, that's the thing about alchemy and an attentive alchemist. It's like the alchemist can't not see or pay attention to the things that it alchemizes. Because how do you know what elements you're working with? How do you know what material is before you? How do you develop an understanding of the intricacies of a thing without looking at and observing it? Now, it's the power of the alchemist to be able to witness and observe and not be lost and to not be consumed by something. And I think that's the thing that's generally difficult for us to do as people. How do we look at our current state? How do we look at the current state of affairs or our current situation and circumstances in life in an empowered way? How do we look at it as this is what it is, but it's not what it has to remain? But because I can see it for what it is, I know what it needs. Or I have a general idea of some things that could be beneficial in moving the needle from here to here. If you don't taste the dish, how do you know how much salt or spice it needs? And then you eat it and it's way too salty and you're complaining to the chef, but the chef made it perfect for you. You're the one that added salt before you even tasted it. You're the one that added the chili pepper flakes before you even tried it. And now it's too spicy. It's not too spicy because the chef made it spicy. It's too spicy because you added too much spice and you didn't try it. But again, it's not easy for us to do as people. It's not easy to look at challenge and difficulty and to remain open to resolution and possibility. And so until a certain developmental phase and until a certain developmental level, then it is more helpful and it's more beneficial to ignore or to overlook. But it's not the alchemist that does that, because the alchemist works with what they're given to create something else. Bottom of the deck is Haggle, hail, and weathering. The alchemist is the one that, again, it has the strength to go through, to witness, to stand in the moment of whatever they're experiencing or something from the past, but also has the knowledge and the expertise and the ability, the willpower to take it from what it was and to create it or to turn it or to add things until it becomes something different, something new, something better. To know that just because it stands in observation does not mean that it consigns or condones, cosigns whatever is happening. But again, it's like there are so many pro chefs that taste the dish as they're preparing it. You know? Because not every tomato is the same. Not every ingredient is exactly as bitter or sweet or whatever as the other. So you have to taste where it is, and then you have to accommodate. And again, it ain't necessarily easy, and like not everyone is necessarily in that spot or in that position. But in Patrick's world, and Patrick don't know nothing about nothing. Patrick is not an authority on anything. But it's like, how can one consider themselves to be an alchemist or claim to be and never look at the reality of where they are? You know? And I feel like that's why so many things go sideways, or that's why it can be difficult, or that's why we feel like we get led or baited by spirit or whatever. It's because there's so much that seems like it's like a void and don't look at and make yourself ignorant to the reality of the situation in order to fantasize, to be trapped, to be stuck and trapped in that dream world where nothing is real. And some people wanted to be there. Some people were like, I still got responsibilities and I care about my sheep and I care about my family. You know, there are things in reality that I care about. So I can't just stay here. There are some people that wanted to be there. To each their own. But yeah, the Emperor is here today in prophecy too. So it's things that we do, don't do. It's things that we are responsible for. And things that don't necessarily just happen. Some things will, some things won't. There are different paths and journeys and everything. Different things for us to do to different degrees and at different levels, you know? And I think that's also the part of impassioned in the WAS. You know, and that's also the beauty of collectives. It's the beauty of difference and diversity on Earth, that there will be those that care about the things that we don't necessarily care about, because as individuals, we can't necessarily always be responsible for everything. And as long as we are in the routes that we are on, and as long as we are following our journeys, there will be others that follow their journeys. And overall, as a whole, we will get, as a collective, wherever it is that we're going. And we don't all have to be the same and move in the same ways and whatever for that to happen. Because at the end of the day, it's the collective effort that sees us in whatever position as a collective. It's because the different organs in the body perform their specific functions that the body functions overall as a whole. It's not because the heart is trying to be the brain and the liver is trying to be the kidney and the spleen is trying to be the big toe. It's because they all do to their best what they do, that it functions overall as a whole. So, Mystical Shaman, you're going to be first. I've separated the decks back out so I can put them back in their boxes. Maybe someday I'll have a place where I can put decks combined. See, I already got to go to the restroom again. The seal is broken. Guess what card came out? There are 3 cards that came out, so we're still on brand. I don't know if this is necessarily branching me into Prophecy 3, but Prophecy 2 felt so subtle in comparison to all of the earth that we saw in Prophecy 1 that I'm not surprised. Low key, as I was doing this, I was like, I wonder if Prophecy 1 will be like the material physical, and then Prophecy 2 will be like the mental emotional, and then Prophecy 3 will be the spiritual. Like even more subtle than the subtlety that came out today. You know what I mean? So we have the standstill and the squeaky chair. The standstill, the Andean cross, and the corn. Bottom of the deck is Earth, which is not Pachamama, but Earth. The standstill, the Andean cross, and the corn, it's almost wherever we park ourselves is what we experience more of, especially in our own lives. And that's not the living earth. That's just earth. So it's almost like that doesn't play necessarily into spirit at all. That's just the design. It's purely the design at that point. For every action, there is a reaction. There's a consequence for every action and stuff like that. It's a game of purely consequence and minimal to no intervention or interaction from the outside. You make this choice, that's what happens. And so sometimes if we want things to change, move, or play out differently, we got to make different choices. It ain't necessarily praying, getting on our hands and knees, manifesting, oh, I'm going to take the same choices and actions, but I want something different to happen. Sometimes if you want different, you got to do different. And again, that's just like that's the basic design before any intervention comes in. A plus B equals 3. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 2 equals 3. That's basic arithmetic. Sometimes 1 plus 1 equals 4 because you'll have triplets. No, because you'll have twins instead of a single baby. Or 1 plus 1 equals 5 because you'll have triplets. That's more of the energy of like intervention or the divine or whatever outside of the basic fundamental way of how things works. But just on a purely fundamental level, with Earth being Earth and not Pachamama, there are choices and decisions that we make that influence and impact our lives in reality. So, good tarot. Final card from you, please. Final card from you, please. It was like 2 of them, at least, if not another 3. It's 2. We have the 9 of Fire again with the 3 of Earth and the 7 of Earth at the bottom of the deck. The 7 of Earth came out yesterday. 7 plus the 3 is the 10 of Earth that came out yesterday. And here is also the 9 of Fire that came out yesterday. And I thought about this earlier too. This 9 of Fire, as it came out yesterday, is us within our own lives. the three of earth is how us within our own lives and other people within their own lives come together to make greater, more global, more impactful changes on the collective as a whole. But again, we're a collective of individuals. So thank you, Holly. Thank you, Janelle, for being here. Sorry that everything that was left out of part one of this got left out, but it didn't come in as fully and as wholly. It did in essence, but whatever. I'll catch you tomorrow, hopefully maybe for part three. And I hope you have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I gotta go to the bathroom.